And well, as the dogfight over India's biting problem continues, Chief Justice of India B.R. Gawai has agreed to urgently consider a request to list a case concerning community dogs following an August 11 order from the Apex Court. On Monday, Supreme Court ordered that all stray dogs in the Delhi NCR region be picked up within 8 weeks and housed in shelters to be established by the appropriate authorities. The order has sparked sharp reactions. While some hail the verdict as a welcome relief, others condemn it as illogical. Let me cut across to Nalini joining us live with further details on the CGI statement saying, we will look into it. Now, we've seen the kind of protests that have happened and how divided the society is on this particular issue. What is likely to happen next, given the fact that the full details of the order have still not been uploaded for everybody to go through every point of what the Supreme Court is trying to do through it?
Well, Suresha, it is a little bit unusual that it's almost 48 hours now and counting since the time that the Supreme Court had made some very strong oral observations, but the written copy of the order is not out yet. What's even more unusual, Suresha, is the fact that despite the written order not being out, action is still being carried out on the ground, which is why not once but twice this matter was mentioned before the CGI today. Once in the morning, a 2024 petition was mentioned where they asked for the CGI to look into the matter regarding sterilization and immunization of stray dogs in the national capital, where the CGI had assured that he is going to look into the matter. Again, right before the bench rose for the day, another lawyer had also mentioned this matter, saying that despite the written orders still not being out, action was being taken on the ground, and there were parts of Delhi where the stray dogs were being picked up by the authorities. Now remember, even in the oral observation, Suesha, the court had given the municipal authorities 6 to 8 weeks of time and told them to prepare shelters for these dogs. And only after these shelters were put in place will it be possible to move these dogs from their wherever they are right now, from their current areas, back to the shelters. But at the same time, we still have to wait for the written copy of the order to say exactly what are the directions that the Supreme Court has given. But at the same time, what we are seeing is that in the aftermath of the Supreme Court hearing, there are at least 2 high courts that have passed, if not the same, but similar kind of orders. We've seen one order from the Rajasthan High Court where they've categorically asked for the stray dogs in the cities of Jaipur, Jodhpur and Udaipur to be removed and to be moved to shelters. And another similar order is also coming from the Madras High Court. So there is no doubt about the fact that there is a larger fallout of whatever the Supreme Court says, along with the fact that there is a massive backlash that the Supreme Court is receiving, not only from within the animal activist community and the dog lovers, but also from the general public. So as to whether or not that's going to impact the written order of the Supreme Court in any way is an interesting thing that we are watching out for, which is why we are eagerly awaiting the written judgment of the Supreme Court in this entire issue. And what also remains to be seen is what the CGI will do now, because he has assured the lawyers that he will look into the matter. But will this mean that the Supreme Court will recall yet another order that has been issued by it is something that still remains to be seen, and we wouldn't want to speculate on that at this point.
Oh yes, absolutely. Take your point there. Nalini, I want to thank you for joining us. Meanwhile, there have been questions as far as shelters for these stray dogs are concerned. 10 lakh stray dogs and barely any shelters is even more concerning. While the country remains divided over the Supreme Court's directive, a key question that looms large: can the order even be implemented in its entirety? How many of the required shelters actually exist, and what is their condition like in India? India Today bringing you this ground report. Take a look.
In 8 weeks, about 10 lakh dogs across Delhi NCR are expected to be taken and into animal shelters. But where are these shelters? Do they even exist on paper? And are they equipped to take in lakhs and lakhs of stray dogs permanently? To answer these questions, India Today visited animal welfare centres run by the Municipal Corporation of Delhi to assess their condition, only to find serious operational lapses. The Animal Birth Control Centre in Tughlakabad is leased out to a Gujarat-based NGO that has previously faced suspension orders for illegal, irresponsible and cruel animal activities. Despite all irregularities, and violation of animal birth control rules, the NGO managed to obtain the tender in Delhi.
The operational challenges are very different from what it is written on paper. Ideally, an ABC center should be running in the proper manner. The doctors should be present, and clearly it shouldn't be shut down like the one that we see here right now. I'll try my best to give you a glimpse from down of this center that is in Tughlakabad. These are the government-run ABC programs that are done in the national capital.
India Today also found the animal birth control unit in Lajpat Nagar locked. The staff did not respond to repeated knocks and the gate remained shut.
We are trying to get in touch with somebody to open the shelter for us, but it seems like the doors have been closed from inside at the moment. So this is the ground reality of shelters. First of all, there aren't many shelters that are run by the MCD for dogs. There are just these places where these are sterilization centers that are run by the MCD. But even though this is the condition where a registered center of the MCD is not even open at the time during the day per se.
At the Masoodpur Sterilization Center in Vasant Kunj, the only doctor on duty was absent. Surgery entries were not shown. There was no record of when dogs had been brought in, and the staff admitted that several dogs in the shelter had not yet undergone surgery. To pile on, the facility was unclean, there were no bathing facilities, and food for the dogs was left uncovered.
The situation seems to be deplorable because the entire center needs a little bit organization. There is no cleaning as such, and there is staff shortage as well. You know, the condition here is that there are only fans and hardly one particular tube light that is also not functional on this particular side. In the heaty months of the summers, this place must be really hot for these dogs to be kept out in the open like this.
According to MCD sources, Delhi has no dedicated dog shelters and only 20 sterilization centers with a combined capacity for about 2,500 dogs at a time. Experts say controlling the stray population requires sterilizing at least 70% of dogs, a target unlikely to be met with existing systems. But with the Supreme Court's directive in place, they said they are obliged to follow orders despite the challenges. With Milan Sharma and Shreya Chatterjee in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
And while protests are sweeping across the country, not over politics or price hike, but stray dogs. Supreme Court's verdict that has agitated emotions, sparked outrage and triggered a nationwide debate. Should safety come at the cost of compassion? From streets to social media, several Bollywood celebrities who are also standing with man's best friend. Getting you these details.
The recent Supreme Court verdict on stray dogs has stirred hearts and headlines across the nation. As the country debates compassion and control, some of Bollywood's most familiar faces are speaking out with empathy, concern, and a call for kindness. John Abraham, who is known for his advocacy for animal rights, called the dogs of the national capital as the citizens of Delhi. In fact, he even wrote a letter to the Chief Justice of India B.R. Gawai and urged the top court to review their recent ruling on relocating the stray dogs. Param Sundari actress Janhvi Kapoor shared a touching story on Instagram and called for the compassion over confinement. While accepting the issues with stray dogs, Janhvi asserted that caging an entire community of animals is not a solution and made a call to protect the voiceless souls. Cousin Shania Kapoor and actor Varun Dhawan followed the suit and reposted the same message on their Instagram stories. Lyricist, writer, and stand up comedian Varun Grover struck a poignant chord. In a heartful post on X, he blamed human beings who hate the dogs for the menace and lashed out at those who block sterilization efforts.
This continent is, how do I put kind of like Indian.
Actor comedian Veer Das, who won 1 billion hearts across the globe by adopting stray dogs, made an appeal and urged Delhiites to come forward and adopt stray dogs to end the chaos. As the country grapples with its next steps, one thing is clear: our celebrities are using their platforms for a cause they believe in. But the criticism coming in is also scathing, that those living the glamorous life have the privilege of not being bothered by stray dog attacks on the streets. The debate, therefore, rages on. Bureau Report, India Today.